We've recently been to Germany after, I think, 8 years, and yeah, our kids were little when we moved to Texas, and they barely remember some of the foods that they enjoyed there, but they can't buy here. So when we were over there, my husband bought some Milchschnitten, which can be translated to milky slices. And what can I say? My kids immediately got addicted. Now we're back in Texas and they miss it very much. So I've decided to make the recipe for it. It's not exactly the same, but it should be very close. So they are out for archery right now. And I want to surprise them when they're back with some of these Milchschnitten. The ingredients today are 3 eggs, 125 milliliters of milk, which is about half a cup. I have 125 gram of sugar, 125 gram of flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and 40 gram of cocoa powder. For the filling, I need 225 milliliters of cream, which is a cup. Some of my homemade vanilla sugar, I will put the link below the video. Also 50 gram of powdered sugar, 50 gram of honey, 250 gram of mascarpone, or how do you pronounce it? We call it mascarpone in Germany. I'm not sure how you pronounce it in English. I also have some Sahnesteif. You know that from other recipes already. It's a stabilizer for cream. You can get it at Amazon, or if you don't have it and you want to make it right now, you can also use a tablespoon of starch instead. Okay, let's get to it. So I will start with the eggs, and I crack all 3 of them. And I also add the sugar already, and then I mix this. Okay, and I'm adding the milk and mix it again. Okay, and now the dry ingredients. And like always, I first mix the baking powder with the flour. So I take a teaspoon of baking powder and I mix this in. And now I add the flour and also the cocoa powder. And I put this through a sieve so I get a really fine cake. Alright, now I don't mix this with a mixer, I instead carefully mix this into my wet ingredients until I have a smooth batter. Okay, and now I put this into my baking what is it, baking rim? Something like that, frame, however you want to call it. So I have a silicone mat under this. You can also use some parchment paper. I'm actually very happy with having this the silicone mat. It works quite well and I never run out of it. So I can now pour this rather liquid dough into this frame. And if you don't have a frame, you can just use a baking sheet with a higher rim. works too. So and here I'm sure there will some of the batter run out of it since it's not completely covering the ground, but that's okay. So I move this a little bit into the corners. I want it everywhere. Looks good. And this goes into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 180 degrees Celsius. So now in the meantime I will prepare the filling, and for that I will mix my cream with the Sahnesteig, with the stabilizer. And I also add some of my vanilla sugar. And there we go. Yep, that looks already good to me. I'll set this aside. So now I will prepare the cream filling. I take the mascarpone, who knows? It's Italian, so that's what I know. And you can make it yourself or buy it at the grocery. So this time I bought it, but it's also not too difficult to make it yourself. It just takes a little bit of time, which I didn't have this time. I wanted to make this right now. I haven't planned it like 2 days ago, so I had to go to the grocery and get it. Okay. All right, I give it a short mix. Yep, and now I add the powdered sugar. And I will use my sieve again to make sure that I don't have any lumps in there. Okay, I'll give it another mix. And now I'm adding the honey. Where's my spatula? Okay. So and now I add the cream. And carefully mix this in. Yes, and I will put this in the fridge for now. I took the cake out of the oven and let it completely cool, and now it's time to remove the frame. For that I'm carefully cutting around the cake. Okay, that went well. And now I will carefully put this on a clean kitchen towel and remove the silicone mat. So here's the cake, and I want to cut it in half, and I will just use this to measure the exact half. So it's 10.5 inch, so I will have it at 5.25 here. Same over here, 5.25, like this. Okay, now I take this carefully, put it over here, and now I need my cream. Okay, it's quite a bit of cream, so probably more than I need. I might make a second one. So now I am adding the other half on top. I'll press it a little bit, and everything that comes out I will carefully remove. Okay, and now I will put this in the fridge, and later I will cut it into smaller slices. With the cream, it turns out that the recipe that I used is using way too much of the ingredients, so I will reduce the amounts in the blog recipe, so you don't end up with such a big leftover. I mean, I don't worry, I will definitely probably have to make a second of this Milchschnitte, and so it's not a problem. I had this now in the fridge for a little more than an hour, and the filling has become a lot more solid. In general, this is something you keep in the fridge. It's eaten cold. It's usually bought from the refrigerator section at the grocery. So I will cut this now into kind of this size pieces. And it looks a lot like those that we have in Germany. And after I made the pictures, I will surprise my kids with this and see what they think about how this tastes. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, tell your friends about this channel, and thank you for watching. Bye!